Hello. Okay. So I'm just gonna wait for a couple people to join and then we can get started. Hello everybody, welcome. This is very nerve-wracking for me. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me, that everything's working. Just send me a comment or in the chat box if you can't hear me. Which I guess in which case you couldn't hear me, so you wouldn't hear me say that. But you know what? Whatever. So, how was y'all's day? How has your life been going? I'm basically just gonna wait a couple minutes for a couple more people to join and then we can get started on making the weekly spread. Also, if you guys hear any crazy noise in the background, I am using my microphone, so hopefully that will stop it. But my room is right next to a road, so there might be some cars coming. Yes, the sound works. Okay, good. Great. Well, the plan for this video was to make a weekly spread and then show you guys all my October spreads. I didn't get to show you guys because of, I didn't get to post my October plan with me. If you guys saw my post on my YouTube discussion page, which I can now do now I have 1,000 subs, so that's really great. But if you guys saw that post, then you would know I didn't get to upload my October plan with me because of technical issues, so that sucked, but I will show you guys all my spreads today and also hopefully make a weekly spread. And if you guys have any questions for me, you can also drop them in the chat box and I'll try to answer them for you guys. Also, I figured that this video should probably be like helped by you guys, I guess. So as far as the weekly spread goes, I have obviously no plan, like nothing is sketched out. I will show you the theme. Are you guys hearing my thing in double, my audio? Are you guys hearing my audio in double or is it okay? As long as y'all can hear it okay, then it's fine. Okay, the audio is fine. Okay, good then. I almost had a heart attack. Anyway, so to answer your question, no, this is actually for October. So I'm gonna be making a weekly spread for that theme. And if you guys haven't seen my theme yet, I'll probably just like periodically like show you guys this again because more people might join throughout the live. But this was my October theme. I did kind of like a piratey skull roses thing. So yeah. My inspiration, I can't actually put a picture on the screen obviously since it's live, but I had an inspiration picture from Pinterest. I was basically the exact same sketch. I had the skull and the snake and everything and the roses. I just like added the banner. So I definitely did not think up this concept, but I think it's pretty cool. And so I wanted to do it for my October theme. And then I also try to continue the motif of like old-fashioned scrolls and drawings and stuff like that. So throughout the spreads, there's always going to be this like papery vintage look along with like treasure. So pearls and diamonds and what I wanted to be gold doubloons, but turned out more like cookies. So there's that. Anyways, so my next spread I really hated. I feel like the layout of this was terrible. My idea was I wanted to have it like jewelry and pirate things and like snakes and stuff laid out on a pirate's desk, but I ended up not really working out well with the layout, and so I ended up liking it. I feel like it was a big color issue, like the gray right here in this bottle annoys me, and you can't really tell what's what. And also I feel like the color distribution was bad, so I ended up adding a lot of red rose petals, but that also didn't really correlate with the cover page well. So yeah, it is what it is though. It's still a functioning spread, and I liked the calendar because it looks like the vintage paper from the first page, so it's still useful. And then the last spread over here, I'm probably gonna have to cover up some of this stuff because it's new. Like, it's stuff that's gonna be coming up on my YouTube channel on my to-do list. But basically, this continues the motif of, you know, jewels and old paper, and I love this quote. It says, "To live is the rarest thing in the world." And I think the second half of the quote says something like, "Most people just exist." I just didn't have space to write it here, but I feel like that was kind of piratey. And also I really love this sketch that I did a couple days ago with like the skeleton hand and the snake. So yeah, these are kind of the ideas that I had for my theme, and I want to continue that into the next page. So if anyone has any drawing or design ideas with the scrolls and the snakes, skeletons, roses, diamonds, anything like that, of course, drop it in the chat box. Other than that, I'll probably just make a simple, normal modular weekly spread. So yeah. Also, if you guys also bullet journal, I'm very curious to hear what your October bullet journal themes were. So if you also want to drop those in the chat box, I think it's really cool seeing different people's bullet journal themes and ideas. It can be used for inspiration, but also just like people are so creative and they have like the best themes. So if you also bullet journal, drop it in the chat box because it's probably adorable. So yeah. Hello, Julia. Thank you for joining. So I'm probably just gonna start by like sketching out my general idea. If you guys know like the different styles of weekly spreads, I probably can make a video about that in the future. But usually what I like to call a modular weekly spread is just where everything's like boxed out randomly. I'll try to find them in my bullet journal. Like here, this was my last weekly spread for September. And this is kind of modular because they're just different sections and boxes around the page. And to be honest, I actually really love this weekly spread, so it's probably a good choice to show you guys. But yeah, this is in comparison to something like this, which is a more rolling weekly spread. So there's sections for, you know, to-do list and then events page. But this is a lot different than the modular one because it's separated between the events and to-dos. And that's also different from something like this, which is more of a vertical spread. So every day, you know, has its own column, that sort of thing. So yeah, different styles of weekly spreads. I'm really open for trying something new, but my favorite recently has been modular, so I figure you might as well stick to that. This week is going to be very busy for me, and so I have to have a different day for, like a different section for each day so I can lay out my events. Sometimes when I don't have event heavy weeks, I like to do a main to-do list section, but although I have a lot of things to do this week, the events are more important, so I do want to make sure I have a big enough box for each day to write that down. Julia says her theme is a Polaroid and autumn theme. That sounds really cute. I know a lot of people are doing autumn themes or fall themes since it's October and, you know, trying to get into those autumn vibes, which I think are really cool. I kind of went the more spooky route, but I think next year I'll probably do, not next year, next month, I'll probably do more of an autumn theme too. So it's less spooky and more for the season. Okay, so I'm just gonna start randomly drawing boxes. Usually I like to have one for every day, and I always separate Saturday and Sunday because I am just as busy on the weekends as I am in the weekdays. So I never can really combine those two. And I also need a section for notes / to-do list. So let's see. I think I want to do something like a vertical kind of design right here. So I'm gonna like section off that page and then like do some kind of design with that later. So I'm just gonna start randomly sketching out boxes. I don't know the process. Like, how do you guys make your weekly spread? I just kind of like do whatever I'm feeling for that week, like whatever works. 2, 3, 4, 5. You also have to take in consideration where the title is going to be. If you have a title of your spread, I think I want to just keep mine near the top, like up in this section, so like October or whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the weeklies. Okay, so what if I and also, I like to add a lot of cute things to my weekly spread sometimes, like quotes or doodles, obviously, or like miniature playlists or books that I'm reading, although that won't be very applicable to this week because I'm in the middle of a giant reading slump. But if you want, I can also add a section for playlists or whatever, because those are always fun. I'm also debating, I kind of want to use scrolls. If we look back here, like obviously that was a motif with like the old paper and the vintage scrolls. And I've honestly been looking for an excuse to use scrolls like this in my bullet journals for like years. Or as long as I've been bullet journaling, I've never actually had a theme where this would work very well. I thought about doing like a dark academia theme, which is slightly what this is, I suppose, you know, skulls and roses or whatever. But I thought that this would also be cute and would work with the pirates. So since I have the opportunity, I might as well use those scrolls and old paper and incorporate that into the title styles. So if you guys don't know how to draw scrolls, I guess I can just like outline that for you. Usually I like to draw the top half first because it just works better with the way my hand flows. But I'll draw like 2 ends of the paper right here, and usually I draw them off each other, so that one's like starts there, that one's a little lower, starts there, and then I'll just like draw a curving line to meet the other, and then mirror that same exact line at the bottom. This is obviously like where the words would go, and then this is where I talk about like the flow of my hand, and I'll just draw like a little swoop here, and then curve it around and curve it back. And sometimes people can go even extra and do like an extra one over there, but that's just gonna take too much space. So something just simple like that. And then do the same thing on the bottom, just the opposite way. Like I said, it's a little harder on this side because my hand doesn't flow that way. And then I connect this right here. And then I'll usually just stick a little bit off the side and connect that with where the ribbon would end. And then if I want to make the page look old and vintage, this is like an old trick that I think we all used to do in like kindergarten, but you just take and draw little V's on the side to make it look like the paper is worn. So yeah. I'm thinking, do I want a huge scroll like this for every day of the week? I feel like it's very big and clunky. Do you guys think it takes up too much space? Yeah, I think I'm gonna make it smaller. The thing I have to take in consideration though is how I'm gonna like label everything like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If I do it with calligraphy, it's gonna take up that much space. But if I just do it in like a normal small handwriting, it'll be a lot thinner than that, which will make a lot more room. So I think I'm gonna erase it and try to make it less tall and bulky so there's space for more of them. So like I said near the beginning, the entire idea for this live was to do a little miniature Q&A, as well as to thank you guys for 1,000 subs. So if you have any questions you want to ask me, just drop them down in the chat box and I'll try to answer them for you. Also, if you have any video suggestions, like for the future, I always want to be making videos you guys want to see, so I have a video series planned for October that I'm so excited about, and I've already like pre-filmed half of them. But if you guys have any videos you want me to make in the future, I'll definitely make them and they'll be out in like the next month or so. Yeah, that's better. I feel like as long as it's skinnier, it just like takes up less space and it won't look weird to have like multiple stacked on top of each other. But the thing I have to think about too is if they're going to be multiple, they shouldn't be like right next to each other. They should be like offset, which is why I had this one up here. I think if I just make this box smaller and then put this one, push it up here. If you guys haven't noticed, I use like 0 ruler when making weekly spreads. And then push this one down here. Yeah, so if it's a little offset, I know it's hard to see the lines, then this banner would be replicated right here, and so it wouldn't be next to each other, if that makes sense. And then there'd be like one right here, and then there'd be one down here, and then there'd be the last one like up here. Because if the two banners next to each other, it would look really awkward and too close and squished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then notes. I try to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then notes down here. That'd be kind of cute. Or I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then have the title up here. And notes. There's so many options. I tried to do something different than the week before, but I've really only had one weekly spread in this theme so far, and it's just been like this random one with notes next week and events. So there's not much really to go off of. So I could technically just do whatever I wanted. Yeah. I'm just going to try drawing the scrolls over here because I know that these 5 are all going to be weeklies or days of the week. So I might as well start drawing these scrolls. That one looks so much better than that one too because it's less stiff. I love when drawings, you can kind of like tell that they just like have movement in them. And I'm trying to work on that with like my own art style. Like for example, the picture at the beginning of this bullet journal spread had 0 movement in it. It was literally a skull, like what do you expect? But like just in general, like when I'm drawing like nature, I try to make it look like clouds are moving or like there's wind blowing through the trees, even though it's a still photo. Kind of been in a, I don't want to say an art slump. That was really just September, but a bullet journal slump recently. Like, I still like to make spreads, but because my life is so busy, especially this next coming month, October is going to be so hectic. So because of that, I don't have much time to do any serious bullet journaling. And so when I do sit down for it, it just feels kind of forced sometimes, which is really disappointing because I love to bullet journal, obviously. Like, I have an entire YouTube channel based around it. But if I just feel forced to do it, like I have to, it's not any fun for me anymore. And so like coming up with a theme for October, if I hadn't found that picture on Pinterest to like base my theme off of, I probably would have been very stuck, just like the month before. But to be honest, I feel like it's important like not to push yourself and stress yourself. We may be having technical difficulties, which is really annoying. Because the Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out. So hopefully you guys didn't miss anything of what I was doing. But yeah, just still here drawing boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they have like a title over here. Or a playlist. Something like that. Okay, now I'm gonna draw these boxes over here. I was thinking since these have 3, these can also have 3, but lined up at the same area. So like one right here that ends around here. And then one that starts here that ends around here. You know if this is equal, but whatever. The last box just have to suffer if it's a little short. The one back here that ends around here. I can also always push these up a little bit, these banners, and like shorten these. And then these two I also have to move to squish them up a little bit so they're like more evenly spread out. Or do I want to save more space up here? And then the last question I have to think about is what kind of design element I'm going to put right here. I was thinking about like curving the snake around because I love drawing that snake. Oh my gosh. Like curving the snake around. But that gives me similar vibes to the calendar page, which I ended up hating. So if I am going to curve the snake around, I need to have something. I need to really focus on the design aspect of it. Because I think my main problem with this cover page, other than, not the cover page, the calendar page, other than the whole color problems, like this whole gray section, then I hate this. I don't want to look at it. Like the cork is wrong, the bottle is wrong, whatever. But don't want to look at that. But also stuff like this, if this was realistically drawn, this coin would be sideways, resting on the snake. And there should be some differentiation between these pearls when they're draping over the snake and then hitting the desk and continuing on. And I feel like some of it looks right, like this angle is correct and the shading's a little better, and then that's pushed back. But stuff like this, like they should be tilted up more. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't look like a flat lay as much as it should, which is hilarious because my entire YouTube channel is based off flat lays, so I should know what they look like. But I suppose if anything, this month should be practice for drawing that. So if I do want to put a snake in like right here and have it curving around, I can also put its head right here if I wanted to. If I wanted to end the snake. I have to practice with adding design elements like the jewels. I guess, wouldn't a diamond look like this compared to this? You know, it's like sitting up more, so this is the peak of the diamond, and this is, what is it, girdle, whatever that word is, going around. I don't know. We'll save that for a little later. Let's continue drawing these scrolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Also, there should probably be a space for notes, in which case we can label that differently if we want to differentiate it from the rest of the weekly boxes, which are all going to look the same. There's so much pencil and pre-sketching in this. I hope you guys understand that usually I would not plan this much into it, but because this month's theme is just so design heavy, there's not really much I can do. So yeah, Again, if you're watching this right now, live, do not forget to put in the chat box, drop any questions, any design elements that you would like, anything like that. I'm tired. Okay, we should probably hurry this up so I can start the inking process because I know there's so much coloring in this. Also, I'm not going to be making this box section. I'm not going to be doing it in the vintage paper style, which should be obvious considering like this is already going to be in the scroll paper style, so I don't want to make the box under. That's going to be a lot of coloring, a lot of yellow. But if I make, the calendar was pretty boring. Like I'm trying to think of, I usually differentiate between curved edged or box edged, but these are kind of pointy because it's the paper and then the lines are very boring. So I could technically do whatever I want as far as making this box corner or like rounded. But I'm thinking of outlining it in my color. So this is the color palette I'm using this month. Ignore these two blues because they're for a pen pal. But, you know, I have a lot of golds, browns, and then that red and the blue accent. So I'm thinking since the scrolls are already going to be some kind of tan, I might as well outline the box. Outline the boxes in brown, red, or blue, or all of them. Honestly, we can like go back and forth. That could be kind of fun. Anyways, let's get cracking on this. I think this last box down here is going to be my notes section, and because the snake is going to quite possibly cut off the banner, I'm not going to draw a banner right here. And I also don't feel like drawing the head because that would require me getting a photo reference, and my phone and iPad are currently being used. So I'm just going to leave it at this and just have the snake curling around. I think one of the most important parts of like the design aspect of the snake is showing its 3D effect by drawing the underbelly. So the underbelly would be this blue section right here that like curves around under the snake. Then that shows the difference between, you know, what side of the snake you're looking at, since it's basically just like one big tube. So if I put the snake going this way, that should be the underbelly, right? And then it curves around here. So like the top of it's there, and then it curves around to the top because this part's curving away. So now that's the top. And then I could technically add more here as it curves that way. So there's the underbelly right there. And then I feel like it's going to be, there's the top, and then the top comes to the top again. The top of the snake comes to the front view and then curves that way, meaning that the underbelly would pop up like around here and then curve that way. And then to differentiate between, I like to draw these little curvy marks to show the 3D effect of the snake. And then the last thing I do, since I have this line right here that just kind of shows the top of the snake, the design aspect, which I later found out was like a diamondback, razorback, something like that kind of snake, is just to draw these diamonds that I honestly made up the day I like filmed everything for my plan with me. Like I just, whenever I think of drawing snakes, they always have like some kind of pattern of diamonds on the back. And it's also much easier to draw this than say like a dozen, not a dozen, like a million, let's be honest, different scales. So yeah. And then as this curves around to the front again, this will make more of a reappearance. And the diamonds will be shown in full. And I'm also going to cut it off right there, the picture. And then that'll curve around there. Yeah. And then in between the diamonds, I also like to add these little triangles, which will obviously be cleaned up in the inking process, but just to add something else, make them pop. As the diamonds are getting towards the head, they'll probably get smaller, so make those smaller. Add some little things right there. That should be good. I feel like it looks like a realistic snake. Now the problem is how to draw the items next to it. Also, FYI, I'm sorry the lighting is probably going in and out for this. Obviously, it's live, so I can't color grade it like I would if it's a pre-filmed YouTube video, but, you know, it's fine. And we can also appreciate my hand tans for a second. That's also can't be really hidden now that it's live, but whatever. It's all good. Just keeping it real. Okay, what else can I put under? I feel like I want to add some flowers because I feel like that's really like dark and mysterious. I don't like how I did it here with the petals, but I do like on the cover page how they're real roses. So what if I just did, and also, did I do it here? No, I didn't. Okay. But I feel like I could put an entire like rose like right here. Maybe like a miniature one right here. Like that could be so pretty. And also incorporate more red, which I know I'm probably going to need to do. Gosh. I need to get better at drawing roses. But like honestly, as far as trying to teach you guys, I just draw like a little center swirly thing. And then just start adding little petals around it. And also try to keep perspective in mind. So like this petal's going to curve up and cover that. And then I'll just like offset them a little bit until they're slowly making a rose shape. Is this like scientific? Absolutely not. Like this may not even be what a rose looks like. But it's what it looks like in my brain. So we're just going to go with it because I don't want to find a reference picture. Not today. As far as the little one goes under it, I can also tilt that one outwards like I kind of did with this one. You see how it's kind of tilted and you can see more of the belly of the flower in the middle versus this one. So I also curve out these petals. So for this, if I was doing a side one under it, these petals would curve up and then come down. And it also should look a little squished considering it's just laying on the ground there. And then I'll have like more petals inside there. I also want little ones to come there and like break out of this little egg shape. Yeah, that's kind of cute. It looks like a rose, right? Y'all can tell that it's a rose. So let's add another one over here. Depending on if I want to put these leaves in here. Again, it all has to do with the whole 3D effect and if it'll look 3D if the leaves are there, and I'm voting no. Like we're trying to improve from the calendar page. So let's take those out. What else can I draw that's 3D and like would stand out? And I could draw and look like it's standing up from a table. Trying to take any reference from anything that I have on my own desk or on desks, like things around me. And everything's just too modernized. Like a pirate wouldn't have like a pencil laying across the desk, and especially if like the snake is slithering around it. I liked drawing the bones in this one. I know you guys can't see. I'm trying not to show you guys this note section. But like the bones here are really cool. And I like this looked realistic. Like this looked like it was standing up off a desk and I had these just like piled around the bottom. So I'm really good at the side view, but I can't do anything from the top view. which I guess is something I could work on. Like, I know it for sure now. So definitely a design aspect I could practice with. I'm thinking like a stack of coins. I'm also gonna make them bigger so they take up more room. If I draw this one like this and I have like the edge of the coin standing up, that means it's resting on top of this coin. And then how will this interact with this, with this coin? The flower is obviously on top, so this should be pushed back into the background, but what can be connected to the flower? Something if I add like a leaf right here, it'll show that this flower is on top of it because it's taller. Like the bulk of the flower is so big and the coin is so flat that even if the flower is not on top of the coin, just its leaves will cover it. Something also the petals can stretch out there. Yeah, that'll be better than leaves. I don't want to draw leaves. So just make the petals stand out there. Okay, that's good. And then if a diamond was resting, I feel like a diamond's pretty tall though. So a diamond could be resting next to a flower. Over here, so I have to draw like 6 little facets, right? And then connect them right here. Probably make it bigger, to be honest. Did I just say I was trying to take up more space? And as far as looking a little bit like it's resting, just do that. And then that's like where the table is down there. And then I still want to continue the pearls because the pearls are super easy to draw, but that doesn't look right. Doodles have like little pearls coming from random areas. And then that's a lot of drawing on this section of the page too. So even if this is right, like how am I going to add some more drawings over here when these are all scrolls? Or do I even want to? Should I just leave it like this, plain empty? Just have notes right here. And then if that could be a design element too, like just centering all of the decoration on one side of the page and keeping everything else really minimal, that's pretty easy. Like that's simple and cute. October. What day is it? That ends on the 3rd. So it's going to be 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. 4th to the 10th. And then, ooh, I want to do a weekly spread with a candle in it. I don't know how to draw candles vertically. Like what would a candle look like from the top? Like how do you draw flames from the top, you know? This is a candle. Like how do you draw a flame? Nope, that's too much work. I'll have to draw the candle another weekly spread when it's more doing it from the side, because you've already established I can do that. I think I can stray from the top view for something like over here and just make this like a design element like that. That's kind of cute. Okay. It's been like 45 minutes, so I think I'm going to start inking because I've been here sketching for way too long. So if you guys already know, I usually do all of my outlining my drawings in the Tomboy Fudenosuke hard tip. I started to hate doing not line art, calligraphy with this pen because it's just so hard and stiff. So I do it for line art instead. I want to make sure it's the right one. Yeah, I think it is. I have a couple ones with very similar tip shapes. I don't know which one I use the most. Oh, it's definitely not this one. Okay, because this one's more rounded. I don't know if you guys can even see that. I like to use the more pointy one. Look at me being a whole beauty guru. Whatever. Anyway, so you guys can see that top one's obviously more pointy. So I'm going to use that one because that way I can get more finer designs, but I can always press harder since it is a calligraphy pen if I want to use it for thicker lines, like for the snake. So I think I'm gonna start with the banners because everything over here, other than this side of the snake, should overlap this part of the drawing. So, like I said earlier, just draw these little divots in the side to make it look old and aged. And then I'm just gonna curve this around. Ew, I hated that. Okay. Let's have like 7 more to make up with. And then just draw these little divots. There you go. One scroll done. And when I color these two, I'll obviously use like that old-fashioned vintage shading technique. So I'll just make sure that the paper is all brown and darker on the edges. I've heard there's a word for it. It's tea stain, that's what it is. Tea stained paper. So we can do that. That one looked kind of weird. These are getting a little too jaggedy. I need to lay off on all the jagged lines so they look less. Let's put one there. That's better, I think. Yeah. So if I keep the edges more sharp and not jaggedy like that, like someone just took like a bite out of it, and then if I just keep the dents going in the top of the paper, that makes it look a little more natural, I think. And again, nothing's perfect. I mean, you're literally drawing bullet journals by hand, so people who think perfection is going to come, like, I'm just like, what are you doing? You can't draw anything perfect by hand, so just don't overthink it, you know? Whatever happens, just going to happen, and you can always fix it later. I need to make a video in the future of ways to fix mistakes in your bullet journal because I feel like I have learned a couple tips, at least over the years, from my plethora of mistakes. And also in that video, I'm probably going to show you guys some mistakes in my bullet journal that I've made and just never decided to cover up. Or if I did cover up, I'll show you guys and see, like, did it actually work? Like, can you see it if I didn't point it out to you? That kind of thing. I thought that'd be kind of a fun video. I said earlier, if you guys didn't hear it though, I have a video series planned for October. I've already pre-filmed like half the videos and I can't say the name of it. I was going to say, since you guys are here on my live stream, I could technically tell you since y'all are like the real ones. However, I'm going to be posting this video and as an actual video on my YouTube channel so anyone could watch it, then hear it, and then be spoiled. So I won't tell you guys, unfortunately, but it is coming starting next week, I think, is the first video in the series. And so I'm very excited for that. And yeah, but that'll probably take up the entirety of October. And so once October's over and I have posted my November plan with me, then I could probably start making videos that are, I guess, not as already pre-planned. So that could definitely be one of the videos that I post in October because I feel like that's going to be super fun to film. And I've been meaning to film something very similar to it anyways for like months. I've just gotten kind of lazy and gone for more simpler videos. Also, this is kind of a weird thing. I feel like a lot of YouTubers complain a lot about editing. Like, they don't like editing, so they always get like an editor, especially if they're like a bigger YouTuber, to do their editing for them. But personally, like, I love editing. Like, I've actually been considering going to like a film major, like for editing and film when I'm in college, because I feel like editing is just so fun. And honestly, although sometimes rough cuts are really boring, fun editing is like the best part of a YouTube video for me. Like, forget filming it and like prepping it and voiceovers, which are also really cool, but like just editing it and like making it all perfect and only keeping in the parts of the video that you like and cutting out long clips that are useless, which is honestly the best feeling in the world. Like, forget therapy, I just want to edit and delete clips of me saying for 20 seconds. So yeah, I don't know how many of you guys are YouTubers or if you edit or anything like that, if you can even relate to what I'm saying. But I will tell you that editing is one of my favorite pastimes, and I haven't been able to do it a lot recently because of the pre-filming that I did for that week that I was out. So I'm excited to get back into it when I start filming more videos soon. Gosh, I'm so scared for this diamond. Please don't mess up. And also, like I mentioned, if you guys have any questions for me, make sure to drop them in the chat box because I was going to make this a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions you want to ask me. Dang, that looks stupid. Look how weird that diamond looks. I know I was going to mess it up. How do I fix this? You know what? It's fine. I'm not gonna mess about it. It'll be fine. I keep talking about trying to make this picture look properly 3D. And hopefully the shading once I finish the line art will also help with that. But then again, I said the same thing when I was making my calendar spread. So who knows, honestly? Who knows? It's not gonna be perfect though. Weren't we just talking about that? Like, my bullet journal can't be perfect, so might as well just not stress about it and just try to get better at art. Like, that's just my motto. One thing I can fix though is I've actually tried multiple ways of doing this. The first time I drew these gold doubloon things on my cover page, it looked like this. And honestly, it reminded me like chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, no, it's supposed to be gold coins. So then I moved to this page and I left the space open. And it looked less like cookies, but they still don't look like money to me. I don't really want to draw some old guy's face or like dollar signs on the coins because that's stupid. So I ended up on this page. I don't know if you can see it with my hand covering this section, but like this coin right here is completely covered in yellow. And I actually really like that. Like, that's the best of all of them so far. So I might just continue that into the last page because yes, it kind of covers up some of the detail in the coin as I literally just draw like 4 triangles. But I feel like it looks more like actual money. So I suppose that's an improvement. Also, I told you guys this at the beginning of the live, but if you weren't here, if you can hear any like loud noises outside, it's because I'm like sitting right next to a window. That's where my desk is. I'm using a microphone, so hopefully you guys like focus on my voice. But if you guys can hear cars or whatever, like blame the location of my house, not me. I actually had like a split like second thought right here. If I like sectioned off the paper like in a big line, I could technically like draw the background as wood so it would look more like a desk. But then I realized if I do that, it's gonna blend in with the dark brown snake, so it's kind of pointless. And will look really weird compared to the rest of this spread. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. Hopefully by the end of the month I'll be somewhat better at drawing designs like this. It's all about improvement. Also, I feel like as long as the objects, like right here, overlap on top of the snake a little bit, it'll look more like they're standing up on the snake. Actually, I'm going to draw this one right here. So the snake is on top of the pearl beads, but the diamond is resting on the side of the snake. And like I said, hopefully I can add more shading to kind of show that, to demonstrate it, if you will. I don't know. People always keep saying, like, they always comment on my videos, like, oh my gosh, your art is so amazing, or whatever. And not to brag or anything. But, like, personally, like, I look at my art, I'm like, there's so many flaws on it, you know? And so it's just one of those things you also have to just, like, work through. Is to, like, be okay with your art to have flaws on it, even though other people, like, can't see it, you know? And also, I mentioned this at the beginning of my stream. So if you guys weren't here, you guys didn't hear it. But my entire theme was based off of a picture that I found on Pinterest, which I can't post, obviously, in the live because it's the live. Maybe I'll be able to link the picture in the description box below once this is published. but the entire theme was based off of that reference picture of this skull and the snake that I found on Pinterest. So all credit to that author. I actually have no idea who that artist, sorry, not author, who that artist is, but they are immensely more talented than I am. So all credits to them for this idea. I think I take a lot more inspiration from Pinterest than I probably should for someone who like literally has YouTube, and like everyone probably thinks that I like come up with these ideas from my head, but no, I just steal them off the internet like so many other people do. So if you aren't here for the sketching process, basically what I'm doing is drawing the snake and demonstrating the angle that the snake is turning in by the ways that the diamonds and the underbelly is facing. So the underbelly is basically this blue section right here, and that shows where the underside of the snake is. And then directly opposite that on a live snake would be the details on the top, which is why I'm drawing these diamond shapes curving around. And sometimes you can only see like half of it right here, is because the snake is turning sideways, so you can see half of the top and half of the bottom where the underbelly is. And then over here on the side, it's curving around so the top of the snake is facing more of your viewpoint right here. And so that's why you can see directly more of the diamonds, and the underbelly is hidden for this short period of time. And then the underbelly comes back over here, so I'm just going to move the diamonds more this way and away. Yeah, and then also to add more detail right here, my mom, whenever she saw this, like my cover page for the first time, she said these look like a razorback or a diamondback, one of the two snakes, but I never actually shot the picture, so it's probably just a happy accident. So if this is not biologically like scientific, are you working again? My Wi-Fi keeps cutting out, so the live stream keeps cutting out too, which is annoying. Hopefully it's working. Hopefully you guys can see me. Hello, Jucia M. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. She said her theme is black and Violet Witchy and Doodles. So that sounds really cool, like a Halloween theme. I was gonna say I did something similar last year. No, I was going to do something similar last year. I ended up going with a theme that I actually hated, but that sounds really cool. It kind of gives me like midnight purpley vibes. I've always wanted to do like a dragon theme, and I guess a snake is like the step below that, because snakes, dragons, you know, similar features, I guess. But I've always wanted to do some kind of dark purpley dragon fantasy theme. And I used to read fantasy like all the time, so maybe I'll be able to do that in the future. But again, it seems like a really dark theme, obviously, with all the black. And so that seems like a theme that could only work for October. Like, do you draw dark black doodles in February? No, of course not. Maybe I'll be the exception. I'm the ones drawing dark dragons in February. I used to plan out all my like theme ideas like actually months in advance. Like it'd be June and I'd be like, I want to do a panda theme for November, like out of no reason. But then by the time I get to November, I've been thinking about that theme so much that I'm already tired of it. And so I choose something completely different. But recently I've been kind of in a bullet journal block, like I mentioned earlier. And so because of that, I haven't been planning out my themes so far in the future because I don't have many ideas. So honestly, we'll just see what happens next month. Like November, I know I want to do some kind of cottagey theme. I saw a theme earlier today. Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous. And it was by, what's her name? Her name's Miranda. I forgot her username. But I saw it earlier today and I was just absolutely obsessed with like vintage butterflies. Anyways, but I want to do like some kind of vintagey theme, possibly something cozy. But who knows? By this time, next month, I would have had maybe something completely different. We'll just see what happens. How do you guys go about finding your bullet journal themes? Like, if you have a specific process, like, do you guys get inspiration from songs? Or, like, I saw one theme once that was like inspired from the Taylor Swift album. Obviously it's Folklore or Evermore, one of the two, because like everyone's been obsessed with that recently. But like I thought that was really cool, and you could take that so many different ways. Like yes, you could do it like with a popular artist like Taylor Swift or whatever, but you could also do it with like lo-fi, which I know Amanda Rachel did, or like hip hop, which could be really cool, like neon colors and like a lot more dark in contrast. That could be really fun actually. I did a graffiti theme back in May, which was one of my favorite themes so far this year. All these eraser shavings on my desk. Get off. Goodbye. I don't want you. Now let me find my old bullet journal. I think it's over here. Yeah, I'll show you guys. If you haven't seen my May plan with me, it's definitely one of my favorite months. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Try to find the cover page. Hello. Okay, there it is. So I had like this graffiti theme, which was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it took me so long to do this cover page, and I like debated back and forth like what exactly I wanted to do. And now I'm actually looking at this, and I could have probably added more like white highlights or whatever. But I think this was so much fun, like the dark and the neon. And this was like my first step into like using more black in my bullet journal, because I'm not a huge fan of like just coloring huge sections in with black. But I guess I got better at it. I'm not as scared to do it anymore. And so since I like got used to it, maybe I can do more dark coloring or like with dark purple or something. Yeah, it's actually giving me a lot more ideas now. So that's cool. Thank you for the idea. So yeah, this thing, like look how dark that is. Like look how much black is in this spread. You could not convince me to do this in April of this year. Anyways. She said, my August was actually inspired by folklore. Oh, that's so cool. What a coincidence. And dark academia. I've always wanted to do some kind of academia theme. I'm so like interested in the whole academia vibes. I made a sticker sheet on my Etsy shop with academia stickers, and that was really fun. I ended up not doing it because I was tired of drawing the same doodles over and over. And then it just became summer, so I feel like it wasn't a good time for it, you know? But like in general, academic themes are super cool. So maybe I'll do one soon. Okay, I literally have nothing else sketched out as far as if I want to draw the boxes or not. I'm just going to start coloring because we've literally been on here for an hour. I still haven't colored anything. So the top I'm using right now is 020 or 020, whatever. And this is the basic yellow color that I used for all my aging paper scrolls in this theme so far. No. One good thing about using a Tombow Fudenosuke is nothing smears as much as it would with like a gel pen. But sometimes, especially if I write really thick, it will smear a little bit with the water-based pen, so it's got to be careful. I posted a video a couple months back where I was testing out AHH alcohol-based markers, and that was so much fun. And I still love using those markers, but I really can't in my bullet journal. Like, okay, so basically this is actually really ironic. So the idea of the video was showing you how to use alcohol markers in your bullet journal, and the trick still works. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys if you want to go watch it, but I do think the trick is a little time consuming. So personally, it's just so much easier to color directly in my journal with a water-based pen. So yeah, just quickly coloring all these scrolls. Recently, I've been not focusing so much on coloring in the lines, which is hilarious to me. But it'll be fine if it's a little messy. Like literally no one can tell. And especially since I'm going to add all that marker shading a little later with like the light browns and the tans to make it look like aged paper, you really can't tell. What kind of music have you guys been listening to recently? I watched Billie Eilish's Letter to Los Angeles, I think it was, like a couple days ago. And I listened to her album a couple times, but like after watching that and like reading the lyrics directly, like as she says them, instead of just listening through it, Spotify, oh my gosh, like I'd always been like a small Billie fan. Like I never actually like stand her, but now with that album is my new favorite thing to listen to. Like the variety of songs too are amazing. Like there's so many sad songs that made me want to cry. Like I was about to be in tears. But then there are also like some really like dark songs or like fast paced, and like Happier Than Ever is obviously like the perfect combination of that, because it starts out really slow and pretty, and then it just like at the end, she's like literally screaming into the microphone. Like, it's just so good. And I feel like her music is really original. So, yeah. If you guys have been listening to anything interesting, definitely recommend some to me because I love hearing any music recommendations. Okay, so usually I would probably be adding more marker shading before I start writing out the days of the week. However, I'm probably going to leave all the marker shading for this side of the scroll, like the part that curves here, and not the main part because it's so small. Excuse me, there wouldn't be much space for any tan on the edges without it just covering up all the yellow anyway. So I'm just going to leave the front section of the scroll, if you will, completely yellow, and then I'll add the darker shading as it pushes back into the background. Wednesday. Do any of you guys have problems like spelling things like that? Like I always say Wednesday, or like for February, I have to make sure February, make sure there's an R in there, because it took me like actually like 12 years to figure out how to spell February right. Thursday the 7th. I think it's crazy that it's already October. Like September went by so quickly, and it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because this month I have so many crazy things going on and hectic things that I don't really want to come. Like, for example, I'm taking a PSAT in a couple weeks, and I have not even taken a practice test, so I probably should work on that. But as far as holidays go, I'm obviously so excited for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I live in America, so my Thanksgiving is in November, not October, if you're Canadian, or anywhere else in the world, but I'm obviously very excited for that. And so the sooner October can get over with, the sooner we can get on with those holidays, and that makes me very happy. So, ups and downs to everything. Okay, now I'm going to work on aging the paper. So the two markers that I use to do that are 942 and 992, very similar markers. This one is very pinky, which is a lot different than the yellow, but I feel like it blends really nicely, so I don't really mind that much. And basically, I just color in that section right there, and then I draw a line where this front section would overlap the back section. Sometimes it's hard to explain shading without looking at it, and honestly, even then, because I've just like, besides bullet journaling, I did art for like years. Like I've been doing art since I was like a child, and so sometimes shading things like this just come like a second nature to me. Like I already know like where the shading's going to be. Especially if you use the like light source of being at the top, which is where my light source usually is. So it's not that hard for me to do shading, but as far as explaining it, sometimes it's harder to be like, well, the shading goes on the bottom because why? Well, I guess just because it always has. They have to explain, oh, well, because the light would be coming up here and blocking this part from seeing this part and all that crazy stuff. And I guess I'm not technically an artist, it's more of I am like a bullet journalist. So if you want a video like that where I explain shading, I could make it, but honestly it would just be so much easier to find a video of some kind of artist explaining shading and not me, because I don't even do that much art shading sometimes. Like in my August spread, if you guys saw that one, I literally just did like flat color and it was fine. It just depends how much effort I'm really willing to put into a spread or a theme. To be honest, I really loved my October theme. My August theme. It was one of those spreads that like got worse as the month went on, I guess. I'll show you guys it. So flipping back, like the cover page was super cute, and then the calendar page was my favorite. Like this spread I loved, and see like there's no shading, it's all just flat color. And then this page I loved like how everything was laid out. But as we went on, like the weekly spread just started to get a little boring. So yeah, and then last month was really hard because my cover page was basically scrapbooking, so I never actually had a theme laid out. It was just like general color scheme. And so for every weekly spread, I really didn't have any place to go. So it's not much like tying together, like it doesn't really match that well. But I mean, it happened. We've moved past it, I guess. Like the differences between this spread, which is mostly green and yellow, and then this spread, which is mostly like all I can see is this peachy color. Like it just doesn't look like it's in the same theme to me. But whatever. But hopefully this is going to be one of those months that it gets better as it goes on, because the cover page was amazing, but the calendar page sucked. And so hopefully as the weekly spreads go on in October, I'll get better at drawing this style in general. And so that'll get better. Okay, I'm going to start drawing the snake. Okay, you commented the banners have kind of a medieval vibe. Yeah, I think so. It's kind of piratey. I guess that's the inspiration behind this theme. So I'm really glad that you think they're medieval, because that means that I'm drawing what goes on in my head. And to be honest, I was talking about doing like a fantasy theme in the future, but if I really think about it, like pirates are real, but they also come up in a lot of fantasy books. So technically this could also be considered something medieval, fantasy. Yeah, I'm really happy with the theme idea for this month. Execution we'll work on, but I feel like that just looks kind of cute. Okay, so talk about marker shading for a little bit. As far as marker shading goes, sometimes I use one color, sometimes I use like 3 to do marker shading. For the underbelly, I'm literally only using this one color, partially because I don't have many other darker forms of this exact tone. So I just like layer the marker more in the darker areas, but also because the underbelly is really not the most important part of the snake. It's just kind of there. I don't want to darken it up too much, so I don't want to add too many colors on top. But you can still kind of see the difference between this dark and then like this light blue. However, you guys saw me for this scroll, I used a completely different color to make it darker, so different ways you can do essentially the same thing. And also, if you are more interested in blending and making it look more realistic, I probably could have taken my original tan and like blended out the shading that I did if I really felt like it. Obviously I didn't, but I could have. As far as coloring in the diamondback snake, this marker is actually dying on me. Okay. I'm coloring outside the lines here because it's not that important to color in the lines, since everything's just going to be covered by like the dark brown color of the snake anyways. I literally colored in the lines like I was doing my entire plan with me, and then I realized, oh, I'm just going to cover over this with a dark brown. Like, why do I care this much about keeping in the lines when it's not going to matter in the end? So my marker's literally dying on me. This is one of those markers though, I got like a set of Tombos, or like 2 set Tombos when I first started bullet journaling, so like January 2020. And this is one of those markers that I think I've had since then. Like, you can tell how much it's worn off. So I probably need to go to Michael's or Amazon. Amazon's so much cheaper than Michael's as far as buying these pens. Like, I don't really want to support Amazon, but honestly, they get really expensive. But yeah, I'll probably need to get some new Tombos because this one is dying on me. Anna Vila said, hey, just popping in to tell you that I used your stickers to decorate my October monthly view, and I love it. Oh, thank you, Anna. I'm glad you like the stickers. What is your October theme? I'm actually very curious. I'm assuming you used my Novel Ideas, Dark Academia stickers, question mark? But feel free to correct me, obviously. I just want to know what your theme is. That sounds really cute. I wonder if there's a way I can put like background music in the stream. Okay. I need to try and hurry this up. I've already been on the stream for like, oh my gosh, over an hour. So there's not much I have to do after I color in this snake and everything. But just try to do this relatively quickly so y'all can go on with your day. And also so my camera does not die. Because that was really the root of my problem. So it was actually really satisfying using a dark brown like this to just color in like massive swaths of the picture. Like, just like it's super satisfying to cover up all those like mistakes, quote unquote, that I made while just scribbling into the yellow. Just so much fun. And I'm probably not going to do shading on the dark brown. I may like add some more of the same color on top. This is one of those objects that I could shade with the same marker like I did with the underbelly. However, I am going to use a gold marker and shade in the different golden scales, because I feel like it's one of those colors, especially since the marker is dying on me, that you can't really layer very well. So I'll do that in just a minute when I finish this brown. This color, by the way, is 969, if you guys are looking for a reference. I like to link all of my supplies in the description boxes of all of my videos, but I've gone from linking direct supplies to just having a list in every video. It's like the same list of all of my like usual supplies. Like I'll have like a list of Crayola Super Tips or Tombow brush pens, but it might not be like the exact same colors because I'm lazy. So I like to say them possibly in the videos, or I maybe like will list them in the future. But if you guys want to know the exact colors that I'm using, they're not usually in the description box. So I'm just telling you now so you guys can have references. Okay. Let's hurry. Okay, so the next color is the gold, and it's 026. This is what I was just talking about with adding the shadows. So I'm going to probably just like draw a line. Again, it just blends in with the brown, so it's not a big problem if I overlap on top of anything. But this also shows the 3D effect of the snake. So I'm just going to color on the shadowy parts, and then this part curves around. So it's going to be hard. Oh my gosh, no. I forgot to set the lines. It's fine though. It's going to be harder to see right there. So I'm just going to shadow it there. And it's going to blend out here and start shadowing as it curves around. Basically, anywhere the underbelly is, I'm shadowing on the opposite side. There you go. That should be fine. And then I'm also going to color in the gold doubloons with the same yellow and gold combination that I did on the snake's back. And like I mentioned, I'm going to color in the entire gold doubloons because I've made some mistakes with those in the past. I'm not about to do it again. Now let's talk about shading these babies, because this is where it really comes into play. So since the rose is on top of this coin, I'm going to make sure that there's a lot of shadow in the shape of the petals on top of the coin right there. And then also, since this is the side of the coin, I want to add some depth there and maybe something there. So that's kind of all I'm going to do that for that coin, since it's on top and the light's directly on top of it. However, for this bottom one, this entire coin is also resting on top of that, which means I'm going to have to extend this shading along the edges here. I haven't done this on the cover page. I'm going to grab a brown in the shade 977 and put that on top of here too, so it's even more difference between the two coins. I think that looks a little better. The only problem is it's a little harsh as far as the color goes, because the differences between the two goldish colors are pretty different. So I'm just going to use the original one and blend out a little more. But that looks good. A little aged. Also, I'm losing my voice from talking so much. So sorry if I like start to sound dead or like a smoker. Okay, next I'm going to find my gray. This is actually a Sakura Koi coloring brush pen. It doesn't have a specific color. It just came in a set of 6, but I'm going to use this and color in the pearls. Again, this is what's really hard about it. I'm going to actually color this one in completely, because some of the differentiation that I made over here, you can't really tell what part's on top of the snake and what part's next to it. So I'm actually realizing this is a much darker color than I used there. Whatever, c'est la vie. But I'm going to color in these completely to try to prove that they're under the snake, and then only keep these ones slightly colored in. So that looks better. Also, the snake would still be casting a shadow on part of the pearls, even if it's not on top of it. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And here with the diamond too. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do as far as this picture goes, since the diamond's reflecting light, I only color in it a little bit, like very sloppily. And then also on the cover page, I used a light pink for the base of the roses, but I ended up hating that. So I'm actually just going to color in the roses like very messily with this red, and then go in with brown as far as the shading goes. I'm probably going to use the same brown that I did for the snake just because it's darker and more reddish than the one I used on the coins for shading. This seems like such a cop-out, so I'm just like literally scribbling in roses and it looks so 2D compared to everything else in the picture. But it's fine. What percent am I at? Okay, so I think I'm gonna try disconnecting my microphone so I can charge my phone. I'm filming on my phone, by the way. So you might hear some background noises because the sound isn't being directly coming from my face. So if you guys don't mind that, so I can charge my phone as I'm filming. Hopefully this works. Okay. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. Okay. So I know you guys can still hear me, but the audio might be a little more echoey since I'm in a room instead of it coming through a microphone. Hopefully it'll only have to be like this for like 10-ish minutes so it can charge. And then I'll put the microphone back in. So sorry about that. I did not think I was gonna have to go this long. I was really at 100% when I started filming. But apparently I go a lot longer than I think I will. Okay, so now I'm using the skinny tip of the dark brown for the rose. It's such a harsh coloring. We don't have many red toned browns, so I'm using this anyway, and then immediately after I sketch in just those little scribbles, I'm going to use the red and attempt to blend it out as much as I possibly can. It's not going to be perfect and you're still going to see that little scribbles, but that doesn't really bother me. If it bothers you, then, oh, I'm sorry. And honestly, I think that's a little harsh too, so I might just take in this light brown. The problem with this one is though, it's really orange based. Okay, that doesn't look that bad, I think. And also since it's in shadow, compared to this one, it's not gonna be that bad. You know what, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try using the dark brown and see how it works on the red. That's not that bad. So, yeah, it's not that bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna center all of this shading. The last one had more shading on the side considering it was sideways, but this particular rose is facing more upwards, and so I'm going to center all the shading towards the middle of the flower instead. And actually from my camera that looks a lot better than it does in real life, so hopefully you guys have a much better view of it. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad actually. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, and at the end I'll also probably add some white highlights. So it'll also be able to tell you there. And this one is basically the same thing as that one as far as the angle goes. It's much more facing towards the top, like where the camera is, in comparison to like this one, which was kind of facing sideways, and also had another one overlapping on top of it. So I'm just going to do basic highlight there. Take the red. There we go. That should be better. Okay. Sorry if you guys couldn't see me for a second. This is my first live stream, as you probably know, on YouTube, so I'm having some technical difficulties, but hopefully I can do something like this more often because it's actually really fun and chill just streaming here with you guys, and yeah. So if I do this more often, I'll get more used to it, obviously. So I think that part of the drawing is pretty much done. I'm not going to add much shading on the snake, Sometimes, like on the cover page, I added some black shading right there, which I think was really cool and dark and spooky, but there's just so much space to cover right here. I just don't feel like it right now. So I feel like using the gold, it just implies that it's darker right there because the gold overlaps and makes that brown look darker than it does right here, even though it's not. So I'm still leaving it at that. The next thing to tackle are these two sections of the weekly spread. I think I'm just going to use some simple black calligraphy right here because that's basically the same style of calligraphy that I used in my, sorry if you can't hear me, the same style of calligraphy that I used in my like spreads over here, like I use this calligraphy. So let's find, here we go. This is the Tombow Fudenosuke soft tip, which is what I usually use for calligraphy. I tried using that Pentel Fude Touch brush pen. I used to call it my favorite of all time, and I did like it, but turns out I went back to my roots of using Tombows, which I think was what a lot of people use anyways. I just like how thick it can be, like how thick the ink can flow on it, even sometimes extend it even further. Because I love bouncy, thick calligraphy. Oh, dang it. You know what? I was gonna say, I never actually posted it in my Plan With Me video, that I wanted to make everything look very elegant, but this is not elegant calligraphy at all. Here, where's the scrap piece of paper? To show you guys comparison, my usual calligraphy style is basically what I just did, like to write notes, all like, be all bouncy, like that, you know? But as far as elegant calligraphy is, it's less bouncy, it's very thin, probably more like, I can't even do it on this paper. It's kind of weird paper. Like, you see how thin it is, how honestly boring and basic it is. But that's like more elegant calligraphy styles that they were probably doing like the olden days, which is what I'm trying to emulate in this theme. So kind of like a huge no-no by doing this bouncy version, but I guess I'll just roll with it. And considering I want to keep things like consistent between the top and the bottom, I'm gonna do the same thing with October up here. But just pretend it's old and elegant, please, for my benefit. Comment if you want me to upload any more calligraphy videos and what you want me to do it about. Back in May, April, one of the two, I did how to letter and a 2-part calligraphy tutorial series, and I still think those are really good videos as far as the information I put in there, although technically since that was back in October, oh my gosh, since that was back in like April or March, the quality of the videos and the quality of the editing is not as good. However, I still think the information I put in it was good. So if you guys are looking for a lettering tutorial, if you're like a beginner or an intermediate, that's probably where I would point you. However, I still think, especially it's been a couple months, I need to make an updated version or at least some kind of more information as far as on my channel, because lettering is just usually a huge part of bullet journaling. As I say that, as I literally hate how I lettered that. Okay, just don't even look at it. Like, you don't see it. It's fine. October. I'm thinking, so I was gonna draw this little diamond thing here. But I don't think I want to do that. I can put some diamonds near the bottom if I really wanted to. But I want to do some kind of quote or playlist. That's one of my 2 favorite songs. I literally was just talking about Billy. So let's put a little playlist section right here. Let's draw 2 little boxes, one there, and then one under it that's like kind of overlapping. Yeah. So now let's have like a little play bar and then the name of the song. So, Billy Bossa Nova, of course. And then, what's the other one I really like? Oh, Getting Older. Okay, those 2 I'm putting on here as my songs of the week because I'm probably going to be jamming to them all week anyway, so might as well just prepare myself early. I'm going to make the boxes in black and then the little play thing in blue. Also, I'm actually going to pull out a ruler, which is crazy. I never use a ruler. Let's take a minute and appreciate my Bill of Rights ruler. Got this at like, I don't know, 3rd grade, still use it. Just make sure that the length of the boxes are the same. So if I start this one there, I'll go to 4.5 centimeters, yes. Start this one here, 4.5 centimeters, okay. So using my black, I was probably just making the same height, but then again, this height would probably be covered right here by the October. So the top of the box isn't defined, which means I can make whatever height I want. I'm leaning towards 3 centimeters. I mean 3.5 centimeters, so 1.5 centimeters, because each one of these dots are a 0.5 centimeter apart. 1, 2, 3, and I'll start this one here. Nope, I'm starting one higher. Actually, I started here, and I kind of half set it. So 1, 2, 3, and let's do 3 and because like I said, the top of that first box is technically undetermined, since it could technically go up as far as we need to into the word October. So it doesn't really matter how tall the second box is. There you go, that's kind of cute. And if I really wanted to, I'd probably add some kind of design right there, but I'm probably not going to, let's be honest. I wanted to keep most of the design over here. Just try something new for once. So where's my blue? I'm going to make a little blue line on both of them for like a little play bar, like on Spotify, Apple Music when you're listening to music. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm also going to pull out my Parkwood gel pen, add little circles like I'm listening to this song. And getting older is up here. I might not have room. Well, that's fine actually. Okay. There we go. Yeah, okay. Try to take a second to debate whether or not I like it. The last thing I want to do is add a section down here for notes, or not last, I might add more things, but the next thing I want to do is I like to do, so I can find an example of it, like this, where I have the little lines right here. I feel like it's a great way to take up space, but still make it obvious that 1, it's a to-do section, and 2, it's not completely colored in. So the problem is I have to choose the right color to do so with. And I don't want to use the yellow since I already used it a lot on this page. I'm debating whether or not I should use like the tan color or the blue color, because the red is way too dark. Leaning towards blue, although there is a lot of blue in this section right here. It'd probably either be the blue or the gold. You don't really have a blue though, just because it's the lightest, and might as well, you know? I'm gonna make it go right here, and I just do every other line. I'm gonna make it follow the shape of the snake too, because that just takes up more space and makes it less awkward. Because if I just had like a line going straight down there, then there'd just be like a weird triangle section of white space that I'd have to color in, and I'd really rather not. Okay, so that's kind of looking kind of cute. I like how that turned out. The only thing I have left to do is possibly add more decoration right here, because I think it does look kind of boring on this side of the page. But I don't know if I want to draw anything because I want to add more red over here. Okay, hear me out. What if I added another rose flower like in this section? And then, because that would bring more red over here. I don't want to put any more yellowy gold color since I already have all this tan and blue, so all I need to do is bring a flower right here for the red, and then I could add stickers or washi tape or little doodle designs. Sorry if you guys can hear that. 1 second. Shut up. Okay, hi, I'm back. I'm sorry. My landline was going off. Hello, are we live? We've been going on for like 90 minutes now. So I don't know if you guys can see any more of this or what I'm doing exactly, or if you can hear me. I'll tell everything in here in the description box below, if this ends up not working, but basically everything cut out in the live, so this weekly spread is pretty much done. I'm just gonna end the live here. Thank you guys, everyone who joined. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you for 1,000 subs. That's just crazy for me to even comprehend. I hope you guys have an amazing week wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Sorry for those technical difficulties. I'll make sure the next live that I do is better. But yeah, thank you for joining. Love you guys and have a great day. Toodles!